Good afternoon and welcome to Orlando's Regional Operational Center of FDLE. Thank you for coming here today. I'm FDLE Commissioner Mark Glass, and today we are pleased to be joined by the great state of Florida's First Lady, Casey DeSantis. Also with our Lieutenant Governor, Jay Collins. Our Secretary of Business and Professional Regulations, Melanie Griffin. There she is, Melanie. And Director James Worley of the Florida Bureau of Alcoholic Beverage and Tobacco. State Representative Dave Smith. And Ms. Leah Caldwell, which you'll hear her story here shortly. So today we're here to highlight Florida's efforts to protect our children from dangerous drugs and deceptive drug marketing to our children. Since April, ABT, we'd like to call you, ABT, everybody goes with three-letter identifiers, alcohol, beverage, and tobacco, alongside with state, local, and federal law enforcement, have been investigating the illicit sale of a thing called nitrous oxide across our state. Now, most of us use nitrous oxide. If you're going to get in drag racing, you put it in your engine and it makes it go faster and everything. I hope that's what we'd be talking about, but that's not it. Thanks to a massive statewide operation, ABT, along with FDLE, has done nearly 70 felony arrests, 16 warrants, and have issued we've issued our retailers for poisoning our children. This is we had this back in the early 90s. Used to call it whippets, and we thought we kind of got rid of it, but it's on its mend to coming right back again. So history repeats itself if you don't stay on top of it. Drugs like nitrous oxides have been causing serious long-term health risk. And as these children are getting older, our teenagers, college kids are getting older, they're going to have more medical problems and issues that are going to arise. So when we learned that some of these retailers were doing this and also advertising THC-infused products appealing to our children, we acted. We acted swiftly, and we continue to act today. Our Florida business, any Florida business who pose harms to kids will be met with swift consequences. This is yet another example of great work happening right here in the state of Florida under leaders like Governor Ron DeSantis and First Lady Casey DeSantis. Under our governor, Florida continues to be a law and order state, and I know you guys enjoy that state just like I do. We have over a 50-year crime low. That's huge. People don't realize how much that is of a great state like this in our union to have that low of a crime rate. And that shows you exactly how the DeSantis team has been putting things forward, whether it's enforcement, whether it is supporting our law enforcement, whether it is education of our kids, teachers, everything that we're doing, very multifaceted to have that happen in our great state. And First Lady, on behalf of my family, I want to say thank you for everything you've done. And please. And I'm going to give you another example, the SAFE program. You've heard about that past 2 years. Governor DeSantis' SAFE program, statewide assistance of fentanyl eradication. We were dealing with a lot of stuff on the southwest border coming in here. We were dealing with fentanyl coming in the droves. He saw that, recognized it, challenged us. We came up with this program. He loves it. He moved on it. He said, I need to do more. We're doing more. Right now, I can tell you we have over 200 approved investigations already undergoing. We have made over 2,100 arrests. Now, we're not talking just local street dealers. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this program steps up into the system where these street dealers are getting it. So we're knocking off big hits. We've had over 485 pounds of fentanyl seized. 485 pounds of fentanyl seized. It takes 7 to 9 grams of salt. If you looked at that, that's how much it'd kill you if that's fentanyl. Just take 7 of them little things and that's enough to kill you. That's enough to kill you. So that's what's affected our state and our nation. But Governor DeSantis pushed forward this type of stuff. Our legislators pushed forward this legislation. We got it, and we've been making a lot of great arrests. And we also seized over 63,000 fentanyl pills, just in the state of Florida. 63,000. One pill can kill. Remember that old slogan. That's enough fentanyl to kill over 100 million people is what we seized. 100 million. It is a weapons of mass destruction, and it's here in our state. And I will tell you, we are eradicating it as fast as we can and trying to get it out of here. Now, successful operations like these are just one example of how Florida law enforcement have been given the tools needed to succeed. And if you just look at the track record in the state of Florida, the things that we've been able to do in our great state, our governor has from $5,000 bonuses for our law enforcement, bringing them in from other states. I'm envied by my brethren in other states because I have it so good. And I'm telling you, the other agency heads that I deal with, they wish their states were doing the same thing our leadership here in this state is doing. So thank you both for everything you're doing. So now, today, we're incredibly honored to have with someone who has been championing protecting our Florida children and also protecting us in the war on drugs. With that said, I want to introduce Florida's First Lady, Casey DeSantis.
Well, I appreciate the Commissioner, and I really appreciate what these undercover agents and law enforcement standing behind me have been doing all across the state of Florida. And it's basically keeping our children and young adults and even adults safe. As a mom, it really, really angers me that you have people out there selling this, distributing it, knowing that it's going to cause harm, or knowing and just not caring that this could end the life of a young person, and yet they continue to do it until now, until we have 70 felony arrests for all of this. And I'm just so appreciative of the team who's been able to put this together to make it happen, because when you look at this and you look at how many arrests there have been and how pervasive the problem is, really you've seen good work from FDLE and ABT on trying to crack down on the supply. The other big part of this is the demand, and I think that's where we've really come in and we've tried to do a lot, meaning we've gone into the schools, K through 12 education, with the Facts Your Future drug education campaign. So that's kind of what Nancy Reagan started in the late 1980s with Just Say No. We've tried to really update that with Just Say No, but here's why, and empower kids to be able to make good, informed decisions about the ramifications of drug use, and really doing it in a demonstrative way. So instead of saying you shouldn't do this, it's, well, here's why you shouldn't do this. Here's what it does to your body. Here's what happens when you smoke meth. Here's what happens when you take a small bit of fentanyl, how it can kill you. Here's video of what happens to somebody who had an overdose of fentanyl, and then showing that to them. We've gone all across the state of Florida and we've done assemblies, and this is something that the Department of Juvenile Justice has really put on. And those assemblies are powerful in the classrooms, or with the students rather, because they can see firsthand how problematic drugs are. So when they see a peer who's sitting there telling them, I would do anything to undo the decisions that I've made. I wish I could go back and say I would have taken a different path other than to have done drugs, but I can't undo that now. And when they see that, I think it's very compelling. There was a young boy who gave a testimony in an assembly about doing drugs and alcohol, getting on a motorcycle one night and slamming into the back of a semi. And that was the last thing that he ever saw, because he became blind as a result of that accident. And when we were in Tampa, the governor and myself, and that young man was telling a story to an auditorium of about 300 students, you could have heard a pin drop. And that kind of content for these kids matters. And that's going to help them make a better decision going forward. Also, having a mom of a child who died as a result of drugs, having that testimony in an assembly format is really powerful, because you can see how dangerous this stuff is. Or having law enforcement coming up and talking about the ramifications of it, or a former addict who says, I wish I would have gone down a different path, but now I can't undo that. I think the more and more we do these assemblies through the Facts Your Future campaign, I think the more we're going to be able to empower kids to make better decisions, and to know that doing things like what you see with this nitric oxide can kill you. And so you'll think twice about doing something like this. So it's really about empowering these kids to make better informed decisions. So I'm so proud of the work of law enforcement. I'm so proud of our undercover agents, and we're going to continue to fight on behalf of the families and the kids to help save lives.
Thank you, First Lady. Now I'd like to invite the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Florida, Jay Collins, to the podium.
Well, it's always good to be here. Casey, fantastic job. Mark, thank you. I want to thank each of you for taking the time to be here. You're sharing your most important commodity, and that is your time. It's important to talk about good things, and it's important to talk about things that make a difference. You know, you've heard me say this probably many times. I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over. I'm blessed to be the Lieutenant Governor. I was blessed to be a Green Beret, but I am a dad and a husband first and foremost. And if you mess with our kids, you put them at risk. We will find you. We will find you, put you in jail, and we'll make sure that you face justice. You don't mess with our kids. And that is something that across this state, our leadership completely agrees on. Mark, thank you. To our men and women in law enforcement, thank you for what you do. We often hear about what they do from the law enforcement side, but we forget about the person behind the badge. These men and women, these community heroes, they're not just law enforcement. They are dads, they are husbands, they are wives, and they are moms, their daughters and sons. They need the time, tools, and training to complete their mission safely each and every day, but then return home and be part of their family and thrive. That's what we aim for in Florida. That is why we take care of those who take care of us. You know, I'm always honored to stand up here with community leaders like Casey DeSantis, like Mark Glass, like Melanie Griffin, David. You know, it's amazing what we've done here. The people of Florida have to be and will always be our top priority. You hear government talk about many things, but when it comes down to it, we're all moms and dads. We're all people in the community trying to make a difference. And if you're going to get dressed up and wear a tie and look like this every single day, you better get things done that matter. But that's what we've done in Florida under Governor Ron DeSantis. It's not about politics, it's about people. It's about protecting our people, making sure they have what they need to be successful, and get the government out of the way however, whenever possible. That's why we support men and women in law enforcement. That's why we do what we do. That is the dream. Nitrous oxide operation that we just talked about, it's shocking that we're still dealing with this. I remember being a kid, hearing about this from Nancy Reagan, from people like this, and many of those things. It's shocking that what's old is new again, and that we have to relearn these things. It's about time that we hold people accountable to such a degree. Mark, thank you for your team's diligence. Thank you for being daring, and thank you for holding these people accountable and doing the hard work. It is not easy to do these things. It takes blood, sweat, tears, and time. Dedication to our community to do that. Thank you for that. The Division of Alcohol and Beverages and Tobacco, the ABT, thank you. Thank you for what you do. I know how hard you guys worked. I know the time that went into this. Our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, also a star. You all know him. He is equally busy, moving around the state at all times. But that's how this works. It's teamwork making the dream work to protect our people. You know, my life has not always been easy. I grew up in a family marred by alcohol, by drugs, so I understand how difficult this is. I lost a sister to alcohol and drug abuse. I've seen it rip apart the very fabric of our family. So when we talk about this, it's not only personal because I get to be the Lieutenant Governor, it's personal because that was my big sister, one of four. It affected our family. It changed things. You know, this operation targeted illegal selling of nitrous oxide. You hit on something that I thought was really glaring. People telling them how to abuse this, how to use this. We know what right looks like. We have to educate people and hold people accountable to stand and do the right thing, even when it's hard. This state has stood alone in many instances, and we are so blessed to have leadership that has done that. And I don't know about you, but I wake up every morning so grateful to be a citizen of Florida and these United States. But let me wrap it up by saying this. Let me make this last point unequivocally clear. If you deal drugs, you put our people at risk, you make our law enforcement put their lives at risk, we will find you, we will track you down, we will hold you accountable, and you will go to jail. You'll be found guilty of what you've done if there is a crime. That is how this works. We will not play around. We will not equivocate. We will never be a state that is soft on crime. We will stand beside our law enforcement, and you will pay the penalty. Just know that that's been said, and that is a fact. We'll hold you accountable. Thank you. God bless each of you, and God bless the state of Florida.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Now I'd like to introduce Director Jerome Worley with the Bureau of Alcohol, Beverage, and Tobacco, ABT. Jerome.
Good afternoon. I'm Jerome Worley, the director, and we'll say ABT to save us a lot of words. Are we okay with that? And again, it's an honor, like everyone else has said, to stand with the First Lady, Casey DeSantis, the Lieutenant Governor, Jay Collins, on this important day in the history of ABT and the state of Florida. As a public servant of nearly 40 years in sworn, non-sworn capacities, my career has been dedicated to criminal investigations and eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse throughout the state of Florida. I'm grateful for the Governor, First Lady, the Lieutenant Governor, who have consistently supported the state and ABT's law enforcement efforts beyond any administration that I've ever served. And that's a fact. Very, very law and order administration. Their commitment to law and order is unparalleled and has been the driving factor for many of the operations ABT has conducted. I'd also like to thank Commissioner Glass and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for their commitment and outstanding partnership as we collaborate on many undercover operations throughout the state and continue safeguarding our residents. ABT is the state agency charged with the enforcement of alcohol and tobacco laws, rigorous compliance checks, and thorough investigations of our licensees. ABT prioritizes the protection for both Floridians and the visitors of the state of Florida. Over the past year, ABT has initiated more than 3,400 investigations into the illegal sale of hemp products to underage individuals. We've arrested 400 people statewide for selling hemp products to children in our licensed locations. ABT has been recognized nationally for our human trafficking investigations. We've identified more than 500 victims and rescued minors from exploitation. These achievements reflect ABT's broad commitment to the public and public safety and serve as concrete examples of how ABT fulfills its mission on the ground. I'm particularly proud to stand here today to talk about our operation targeting the illegal sale of nitrous oxide. ABT worked closely with multiple law enforcement agencies and partners, leading to 86 felony arrests and warrants, which is the largest statewide felony enforcement operation in ABT's 92-year history. So I'm very proud of that. During the investigation, store clerks advised our ABT agents on using the canisters of nitrous oxide on how to get high, which is illegal. It's a felony. During these arrests, our agents seized many products named in a recent FDA warning that included products like Galaxy Gas, Whip It, and Miami Magic, all of which were targeted toward youth. And closing, protecting the health and future of Florida's families, especially young people, is ABT's top priority. Again, I'm truly proud to stand alongside the First Lady, the Lieutenant Governor, Commissioner Glass, and our state's law enforcement officers as we continue this important work together. Lastly, I'd like to thank our ABT enforcement team and every law enforcement partner who serves on the front lines each day, and we'll continue to fight for what is right and keep harmful substances out of our communities and off the streets. And thank you.
Thank you, Director. Now I'd like to introduce Leah Caldwell, mother of Meg Caldwell.
Good afternoon. Thank you, First Lady DeSantis, Lieutenant Governor Collins, for sharing this platform with me. My name is Lee Caldwell, and I'm here today to speak for my sister, Meg. Meg was the baby of our family. She was vibrant, she was beautiful, she was deeply loved, and she would be celebrating her 30th birthday with us this year. But instead, my family has spent the past several years living a nightmare that culminated last November when my sister was found dead outside a smoke shop on Orange Blossom Trail here in Orlando. Meg lost her life because of an addiction to nitrous oxide. It's often sold in canisters labeled not for inhalation, but the truth is manufacturers and smoke shops know exactly what is happening. They sell these canisters in brightly colored packaging with fun names and candy flavors, and they know they are selling to people who are going to inhale them to get high. Smoke shop employees here in Central Florida knew Meg by name. They watched her buy dozens of canisters at a time, go to her car, consume them in the parking lot, and then go right back in the store for more, and they kept selling it to her. Meg believed that if she could buy them at a store right down the street, it couldn't be that dangerous. Nitrous oxide addiction destroyed my sister's future. She lost friends, relationships, jobs, and the trust of her family again and again. We tried everything, multiple treatment programs, counseling, prayer, pleading, but the drug was always right there, cheap, legal, and accessible. She didn't have to seek it out in a dark alley. It was as easy as walking into a brightly lit shop on the corner. The damage this drug does to the body is devastating. Mood swings, psychosis, weakness. At one point, Meg lost the ability to walk. And make no mistake, this drug kills. My sister's story is not unique. Families across Florida and across our country are living this same nightmare right now. I'm here today because enough is enough. Enough of pretending that these products are harmless. Enough of letting greedy manufacturers and retailers hide behind the fine print while they target our kids. Enough of watching families like mine bury their loved ones because of a loophole that no one has closed. I don't want any other family to have to wonder what their sister or their brother or their child might have grown up to be if addiction hadn't taken over. Protecting Florida's youth means clearing the shelves of products like this, products designed and marketed to hook them young and destroy their futures. My sister was more than a nitrous oxide canister and a quick, cheap high. She was more than the addict down the street you look away from because it makes you uncomfortable. Meg deserved a chance at a full, healthy, happy life. I have no answers for a huge problem like addiction. I don't think anyone does, but there are things that we can do by standing together, by demanding accountability, and by closing loopholes like this. I'm certain we can make sure more families don't lose their loved ones the way that we lost our Meg. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate that. That gives law enforcement, our lawmakers, our leaders more gas in the tank to keep this fight going. And so thank you for sharing that and bringing us into your family. I do appreciate that, and I really mean that. And prayers will go out to you and your family every day. If that doesn't, just get right to your heart of what's going on. There's not one family in here, not one person in here, that addiction does not touch somewhere in your family. We all know that. We all have that. I've had the honor with the First Lady, watch her work with her families, Facts Your Future, really getting out there trying to educate people, getting the Narcan into the legal where you can get it at CVS or you can get it at any of the shops if you have someone to help assist that you may have an addict in your family. That is saving lives. That is saving lives. We talk to our victims advocates. The victims advocates, they're doing the Lord's work out there. They're comforting with these families out there and the families, the support structure, what you have to go through. So this is a all-encompassing thing for all of us. So I'm just asking everyone out there, if you know someone that needs help, we have things online that can help you. The First Lady has a lot of stuff to go to and take a look at. FDLE, we have stuff there. You just got to go look and help seek out. Just ask someone and we will help you. So thank you again on that. Also too, and I know the First Lady's big on this one and so is the Lieutenant Governor and the Governor. Don't target our children with all this gummy stuff and all, that you're making it look good like gummy bears and stuff. And we all think about, oh, that's just nothing, it's CBD gummies. I get it, all right, that may help you. But there's a THC component to another set of this. And we, FDLE agents, along with ABT, work hand in hand on this a lot, and we have been. And some of these places are legitimate business. I know the Secretary, I just want to say thank you for your help in DVPR. That's been phenomenal. But there's a lot of different things we're looking at, these business owners. So if you're a business owner and you're selling these types of product, are you sure the person or the wholesaler who sold it to you is legit? Are you sure what they sold you to sell in your stores meets the legal part of THC, I think it's 0.3 and below %. Are you sure? Because I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of places that it's over 0.3. And we're working cases right now actively on business owners that have that, and now you're the one selling it. So if you think, second guess any of the stuff that you're buying from, better make sure it's from a legal wholesaler or from a person who is licensed properly through our great state, then make sure you're receiving the right product. But also, too, I want you to look at when you go by, there's one on every corner, of these shops. And they're doing Jolly Rancher slushies. Yes. That's targeting kids. I don't care how you look at it. It's not that you're going in to get some medical to help you with your medical issue. You're targeting this fun stuff and trying to make it fun. Lollipops, Raz Pops, all this stuff that we're doing out here that you're seeing. It is just unconscionable, if you ask me. There's too many little children that are in your household. You may think everything's fine and you got it and it's legal or it's close to it or whatever, but your children's in your house or friends or something, they're seeing it. They won't know. They won't know that's not a lollipop or whatever it is, or slushy. They don't know. They're going to do it. And they're much smaller than you are, and they're much more susceptible to it. So just really think about what's going on in and around your ecosystem, but we need your help. Just pay attention to that and help us out with that. So, Jerome, if you could step back up here real quick. And what I would like to do, Jerome, if you could, you just kind of said something in the back room, kind of tell them about that one thing you were instructed on, how they're doing the whippets with the parachute.
Yeah, just some of the, sorry about that. Some of the research we've been doing is the party, like college campuses. A lot of college campuses are being littered with these canisters on get up Saturday morning after parties. These kids find it a harmless, easy way to go in and get high. Just the small canisters, they're called chargers, the little aluminum ones, you can buy them in grocery stores. They're made for culinary purposes, but these are some of the easy ones that are easy to conceal, hide, and this is what a lot of the younger kids are using or getting high on. And as we've talked about, dangerous, just absolutely dangerous, what's happening here. And the marketing of the colorful, the flavors. We found a case here recently where a group bought a large canister of this and brought a parachute into the living room of their home, opened the canister, and a group of them got underneath this parachute and all enjoyed a high together, which it's become that common again. And I know we talked about whippets a long time ago. It used to be the whipped cream, but now the bad guys have figured out how to market this, manufacture it, and now it comes in large containers, very colorful, flavored, and again, attractive to especially young folks. And there is no age restriction on buying nitrous oxide. As long as it's intended for professional uses, medical, automotive, whatever the professional uses are, is when they begin to use it illegally is when it becomes a crime. And person selling you or distributing this nitrous oxide knowing it's for an illegal use is a crime. And so that's pretty much the basis, but I'm just shocked at how whippets has made a comeback and just how predominant it is in our communities.
So it can be dangerous and lethal, and that's where we're at now. So with that, I'd like to open up if any questions you may have of us or the First Lady or Lieutenant.
I know there are legitimate purposes to this, but a lot of people are probably wondering, why are they on the shelf as smoke shops? Because just having them there, the implicit understanding is that people are walk in, they're not buying them to make whipped cream fluffy, they're buying them for inhalation. So is there anything that you can do? Would it be lowering that legal threshold from 16 grams to ensure that people aren't buying it for that purpose?
Yeah, that would take legislation.
Do you think that's necessary?
It could be looked at and addressed, yes, because you're right. One thing is, why is there nitrous oxide being sold in a smoke shop? I'm sure the dentist doesn't go by there to the smoke shop to get his nitrous oxide for dentistry. An automotive shop doesn't go there, and neither does a chef or a cook. So you're right. It's obvious. It's the elephant in the room.
That kind of goes along with the Sudafed back in the day. Now you're having to look behind the shelf to get the Sudafed, and we do have systems in the state of Florida that reduce that issue, so that may be something legislators could look at. So great question. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you for being here. Thank you, First Lady, Lieutenant Governor. We really do appreciate it. We do appreciate you bringing us in your family. Thank you so much. Sheriff, thank you.